Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
At 9:59 p.m., Catherine steps into the Orpheum Hotel lobby, a sleek black dress hugging her figure. She checks her phone, scanning for his message. Seconds later, Brent Rivers appears, tall, smirking, confident. He places a hand on her waist. They exchange a quick kiss before slipping into the elevator. Room 1012. The door clicks shut behind them. Harrison watches the live feed from his laptop, breath steady, fingers clenched. The proof is undeniable. The timestamps, the whispered promises, the lies. A cold smile forms. She thinks she's safe, but she has no idea what's coming. Seattle's daylight can be a strange friend. Sometimes it spills through tall windows, lending warmth and comfort. Other times, it skulks behind clouds, making everything feel muted and uncertain. This morning belongs to the second category gray skies, a thin drizzle, and a hush that seeps into the bones. Harrison Cole wakes before his alarm, the old routine of a man who rarely trusts an external beep to run his life. The clock reads 6:02 a.m. He slides out of bed, mind already humming with half-coded VR sequences for his upcoming project. He usually jots these random ideas in a spiral-bound notebook that's forever perched on his nightstand. On many mornings, such as this, he's reminded that success demands discipline plus a touch of obsession. But something interrupts his typical flow of optimism, a whisper of dread. He glances at the other side of the bed. Catherine's missing. Again. It's not the first time she's slept in the guest bedroom or stayed out late, claiming an all-nighter at her theater. Lately, she's done it more often. Rehearsals, workshops, creative jam sessions, as she calls them. Sure. Right. Harrison stares at the empty pillow, mind poking at inconsistencies. She texted him last night, said something about staying at Ivy's place because they had to finish designing costumes for a local fundraiser. Ivy had never mentioned that plan to him, though. Then again, why would she? It's just a feeling, he mutters under his breath. He's not the type to jump to conclusions. He's methodical, calm, a problem solver. Pulling on sweatpants and a worn t-shirt, Harrison pads toward the kitchen. That's when he sees a lone coffee mug on the counter, Catherine's mug. She always claims she can't function without caffeine. So, if she left the house last night, when did she have time to brew coffee here at 2 a.m.? He runs a fingertip along the edge. Cold. Possibly made hours ago. Possibly not. The details swirl, forming the first quiet alarm that not all is well. The front door remains locked from the inside. There's no sign of forced entry, obviously. He's not expecting some bizarre burglary scenario, but the sense of creeping mistrust escalates. He tries to push it away, telling himself maybe she woke up at the crack of dawn, needed coffee, and ducked out again. But why? Sighing, he stares at the mug a moment longer. Then he sets it aside, deciding to greet the day as normal. He's got code to refine. VR worlds don't build themselves. And a little part of him wonders, am I overthinking this? Around 7 a.m., he descends into his home office. The space is meticulously organized with VR headsets, half-assembled prototypes, whiteboards scrawled with potential game mechanics. On one board, written in black marker, is Odyssey Project. That's the rumored name of his next big release, something that might revolutionize user immersion. Even his closest colleagues think it'll catapult him into major leagues. But today, he can't quite focus. The images he's coding, forests of swirling neon, interactive puzzle gates, seem hazy. Usually, this calms him. Usually, creating new VR realms is his sanctuary. Instead, his thoughts drift back to Catherine. They've been married for 4 years. They fell for each other when he was still an enthusiastic indie game dev running small projects. She was a budding actress, bright-eyed about making it big. Over time, he found financial success, while her career stalled. He tries to recall the last normal conversation they had, maybe a week ago, about takeout pizza. Actually, that doesn't sound right. Even then, she was half listening. He rubs his eyes. "Focus, Harrison. Don't unravel over hunches," he whispers. Then, sets his gaze on lines of code. He manages to refine one VR environmental transition before the doorbell rings, startling him. He glances at the clock. 8:12 a.m. Could be UPS, or maybe Ivy. He climbs back upstairs, each step echoing that swirl of worry. He opens the door to see Ivy Catherine's best friend, costume designer for local stage productions, and the woman who often drifts in and out of their home, lugging garment bags. Today, she's alone, her face anxious. "Morning, Ivy," he says, trying not to show tension. "Catherine's out, I think. Something about your guy's fundraiser?" He inflects it like a question. Ivy's eyes flick downward. "Yeah, fundraiser." She forces a laugh, steps onto the threshold. The drizzle's picking up behind her. "Actually, I came by to drop these patterns off. They're for a period piece she's planning next month." She holds a small binder of fabric swatches and notes. "Right," Harrison says. "Well, she's not home." He steps aside, letting Ivy into the foyer. She sets the binder on a side table, glancing around. "Did she say when she'd be back?" Ivy asks. He frowns slightly. "No." They stand there in a mild standoff. Ivy's lips tighten. Then she musters a friendlier tone. "Mind if I wait for a few minutes? I was hoping to catch her." He nods. "Sure. Coffee?" She nods back, offers a weak smile. "Please." They drift into the kitchen. Harrison is hyper-aware of the earlier coffee mug. He quickly rinses it, sets up a fresh pot. He senses Ivy's nervous energy. She keeps adjusting her scarf, eyes flicking to the front door as though expecting Catherine to burst in. Something's off. Eventually, Ivy sips from the new mug. "I didn't see her last night, if that's what you're curious about," she says softly. Harrison arches a brow, feigning casual. "She told me she was with you." Ivy cringes. "Well, that's yes. She said she might drop by, but she never did. We had a quick phone call around midnight. She said something about being stuck at the theater." He exhales. The tension is obvious. "So, she told you she was at the theater, and told me she was with you. That's interesting." Ivy opens her mouth, then clamps it shut. Her face reveals conflict. He sets his coffee down. "Don't worry," he says gently. "I'm not out to corner you. Just trying to figure out what's happening." Ivy fiddles with a napkin. "She's been restless. You know that. She's been talking to some people, maybe an agent or something. She wants bigger breaks. She keeps saying Seattle's too small for her ambitions, that she's got to hustle." Harrison nods, mind swirling. He thanks Ivy for the partial honesty. She stares at him, guilt in her eyes. Then, as if unable to handle the tension, she stands up. "I'll go if she calls. Let her know I dropped those patterns. Sorry, Harrison." She grabs her coat, stepping toward the door. He follows, remaining polite. On the threshold, Ivy hesitates. "I do care about both of you. Just keep an eye on her, yeah?" "Will do," he says quietly. She leaves, footsteps splashing on the wet sidewalk. Harrison closes the door, chest tight. So Catherine's lying to both him and Ivy. This is bigger than just missing rehearsals. Later in the afternoon, Harrison tries to bury himself in VR updates again, but the code stops making sense every few lines. He rereads the blocks, uncomprehending. That's so unlike him. Typically, he's unstoppable once in the zone. Today, he's jaded, with a suspicion pounding, she's with someone else. He picks up his phone, taps Catherine's contact, tempted to call. Instead, he sets the phone down. Confrontation over the phone rarely solves anything. If she's lying, she'll keep lying. He wants facts, evidence. He's always been a data man. He decides to check their shared credit card statements, receipts just out of curiosity. A methodical approach, yes. Maybe borderline paranoid, but he needs clarity. He opens the account online. Immediately sees the 1 a.m. hotel bar charge from 2 nights ago. Another from last Thursday at a lounge across town. She'd insisted that night she was stuck in a late cast meeting. Then there's an Uber charge at 3 a.m. from an address nowhere near the theater or Ivy's place. All in the last couple weeks. He prints them out, lays them on his desk. Her name is on the statements, so no confusion about who used the card. He's half fuming, half cold. All right, so you're definitely up to something. At 6 p.m., she texts him brief, casual. Busy day, gonna come home late, don't wait up. He stares at the phone, heart tightening. No mention of her actual location, no explanation. He replies with a short, "Got it." He stands from the desk, heading upstairs. Time to figure out how far this betrayal goes. He's not just going to brood or let jealousy ruin him, he's going to investigate meticulously. Because if she's crossing lines, he will not be the fool left holding the remains of a broken marriage. That's not Harrison Cole. The next morning, sleeplessness weighs on him, but he perseveres. He calls Nolan for a quick meetup at a downtown cafe. Nolan is an old college buddy turned data security consultant tech-savvy, discreet, and loyal. They settle at a small corner table, the cafe's windows steamed from the drizzle outside. Nolan leans forward. "You look like hell, man." Harrison offers a thin smile. "Thanks," then quietly confides the gist. "I suspect Catherine's seeing someone. The timeline, the lies. I found suspicious receipts, a hotel bar at 1 a.m. He exhales, almost shaking. "I can't just accuse her blindly, but I also can't let it keep festering." Nolan frowns, tapping the table. "That sucks. Sorry. Let's approach it systematically. You want me to do a little phone forensics? Maybe a subtle location check? If she's telling you she's at the theater but she's somewhere else, we can confirm." Harrison nods. "I hate snooping. But what's my alternative? She's weaving stories. I need the truth." Nolan leans back, crossing arms. "Got it. We'll keep it low-key. What about confronting her?" "Not yet. I want undeniable proof. If she's messing around, I'd prefer no wiggle room. Then I can decide my next move." Nolan's eyes flick with concern. "That's fair. We'll find your proof. But be prepared for heartbreak, man. It's not easy to see it in black and white." Harrison sets his jaw. Better heartbreak than living in a lie. They shift to discussing steps Nolan can replicate her phone data if they can get a hold of her device or at least slip an app onto it. Alternatively, they can track her if she's careless with her iCloud settings. Basic stuff. Harrison will gather more receipts. They'll build a timeline. They part with a handshake, each feeling the weight. Harrison heads home, half of him wanting to believe it's all a misunderstanding, the other half braced for a bitter truth. That same evening, Catherine returns home around 10 p.m. She's wearing a black dress and carrying a small clutch purse that Harrison doesn't recognize. She sets it on the kitchen counter with a casual sigh, as though it's no big deal to appear at 10 p.m. after claiming she'd be home for dinner. Harrison, at the table working on his laptop, simply looks up. "Hey." She glances his way, forcing a quick smile. "Hey. Sorry, the rehearsal ran over. Then I grabbed a drink with some folks from the cast." He nods, notes that she doesn't mention which cast members. "Everything all right?" Catherine shrugs, pulls off her heels. "Yeah, just exhausted. Gonna shower and crash." She heads down the hallway. Harrison watches her silhouette vanish, noticing no attempt to greet him with a kiss. No sign of normal marital affection. Exhaustion can be real, but it's been a steady pattern for weeks. He suspects her mind is stuck on someone else's orbit. When she's in the shower, he quietly checks the purse. Feels invasive, yes, but he's past that moral line. He finds a few receipts from a fancy bar lounge, time-stamped an hour ago. Not exactly a quick cast drink at a dive. Doesn't disprove everything, but it's another log on the suspicion pile. He hears the water shut off. Quickly, he returns the receipt and sets the purse exactly as it was, stepping away to the living room. He steels himself, calm outwardly, but inside a swirl of anger. If she's lying about the cast, who is she truly with? Catherine emerges in pajamas, hair wet, eyes half-lidded. She passes him with barely a word, heading to the bedroom. Moments later, the door closes. A minute after that, the light flicks off. She's shutting him out. Another day dawns. The cycle repeats. Harrison tries focusing on VR code, but his mind is split, half analyzing lines of programming, half analyzing lines of her deceptions. That afternoon, he receives a message from Nolan. Check your email. Found some pings from her phone. Suspicious location last night, 422 Sundown Avenue. Not the theater. Harrison's pulse quickens. He Googles that address. A residential high-rise near downtown, possibly an upscale condo, possibly related to Brent. He doesn't know Brent's details yet, but the name floats in his memory. He stares at the screen. So, last night, while she said, cast drinks, her phone was at some random condo building. Great. Another piece of the puzzle. Another slash across his trust. In the late afternoon, Ivy calls him, her voice subdued. Hey, I want to talk about Catherine. He grips the phone. All right, talk. She hesitates. She's not telling me much, but I sense she's messing with an agent named Brent Rivers. He's rumored to help local actresses find bigger gigs in L.A. She's smitten with the idea of Hollywood. I overheard them chatting about meeting producers. But the vibe is weird, like they might be hooking up. I confronted her. She brushed me off. Harrison exhales. So, you suspect an affair? Ivy doesn't answer right away. Look, I hope not, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. Don't mention my name, please. I just hate the lying. Thank you for being honest, he murmurs. This helps. I need to confirm details. Then I'll handle it. Ivy sounds near tears. I'm sorry, truly. He hangs up gently, grim determination overshadowing sadness. He pictures Catherine with Brent Rivers sneaking around. The agony builds, but anger too. He's not the type to slump in a corner crying. He's the type to strike back and do it thoroughly. That evening, Catherine suggests they have dinner together, as if to maintain some semblance of normalcy. She picks up Thai takeout. They sit across from each other at the small dining table. Conversation is stilted. She's going on about the next big audition, spewing incomplete details. Harrison asks casually, "Where exactly is the audition taking place?" She flinches, then waves a hand. "Downtown Arts Center. Might move to L.A. next month if they want me in a pilot. We'll see." He nods. "And Brent Rivers is your new agent?" She stares, eyes flicking. "He's not my agent. He's just helping with connections. Why?" He shrugs, carefully neutral. "Just curious?" She forces a laugh. "You sure are curious these days." He quietly sips water. "I'd like to be supportive, that's all." She changes topic abruptly, praising the pad CU. There's no warmth, no closeness. By the end of dinner, Harrison feels the chasm between them has grown irreparable. She cleans up half-heartedly, then claims exhaustion again. He wonders, does she realize how obvious her lies appear? Or does she simply not care? The next morning, Harrison replays everything. The suspicious phone records, the receipts, Ivy's hints, the conversation with Nolan. He's not a fan of half measures. If Catherine's entangled with Brent, he wants undisputed proof. He calls Nolan for a deeper dive. "Hey, pal, I'm doubling down," Harrison says into the phone. "Whatever it takes. I need to see them together." Nolan suggests discreet camera setups near that condo address or inside the car. They decide that might be overkill unless the phone pings confirm repeated visits. "Let's gather more location data first, then we can place a hidden device if needed," Nolan says. Harrison agrees. Meanwhile, Catherine remains oblivious to their operation, or so he hopes. She breezes by at noon, claiming a quick costume fitting, wearing a tight top and skirt that he rarely sees outside of fancy events. She tosses a "later, babe" over her shoulder and vanishes. He checks the credit card account. An hour later, she used it to buy a $90 bottle of champagne from a downtown liquor store. For a costume fitting? Right. Fury gnaws at him, but he stifles it, determined to keep the facade that he suspects nothing. That evening, he decides to appear at the theater again, unannounced. Maybe he'll catch her in an outright lie. The building is modest, with an old marquee. Stage lights glow behind frosted windows. He steps inside. The stage manager, a short woman named Dina, greets him. "Harrison, hey, looking for Catherine?" He nods politely. "Yeah, just wanted to say hi. Is she in rehearsal?" Dina tilts her head. "She left early. We wrapped at 5. He glances at his phone. It's 7:30 p.m. Catherine texted him an hour ago. "Running late at rehearsal." He exhales. "Thanks. Maybe she stepped out for dinner." Dina shrugs sympathetically. He thanks her, heads back to his car. So, once again, Catherine's lying about being here. Another puzzle piece, another nail in the coffin of trust. As he's about to drive off, he spots a figure lurking by the side of the theater. Approaching, he realizes it's Ivy, arms folded, looking anxious. She sees him and steps forward. "I was hoping to run into you," she says quietly. "Catherine told me she was here till 9. That's a lie, obviously. I confronted her earlier, but she brushed me off." "I'm worried." He notices the anguish in her eyes. "I appreciate your honesty. Seriously." She nods, shifting from foot to foot. "I love her as a friend, but I hate lying, and I hate seeing you blindsided. She's lost in her own ambition, or in that Brent guy." Harrison's jaw flexes. "I'll handle it soon." Ivy swallows. "All right. Just be careful, okay? She can be vindictive." He thanks Ivy again, returning to his car, determination more solid than ever. Back home, midnight strikes. Catherine arrives wearing a confident smirk, not bothering to hide the faint smell of cologne that's definitely not hers. She tries to slip into the bedroom. Harrison intercepts her in the hall. "How was rehearsal?" he asks pointedly. She lifts her chin. "Fine. Exhausting." He crosses arms. "Funny. I dropped by at 7:30 and they said you'd left hours before that." Catherine blinks, then attempts an aloof shrug. "I grabbed a late dinner with friends. Didn't think it was a big deal." He stares her down. "Which friends?" She hesitates. "You don't know them. Some new cast folks. We tried a new sushi place." He knows she's lying, but tries to maintain calm. "Catherine, you're lying to me. This can't keep going." She scoffs. "Don't be paranoid." Then brushes past him into the bedroom, shutting the door. He could follow, demand more. But what's the point? She's doubling down on the lies. He stands in the hallway, a slow-burning fury in his chest. Fine. Let her keep stacking falsehoods. He's going to demolish them all soon enough. The next morning, Harrison receives a text from Nolan. "Dude, got partial phone cloned some texts to a Brent R. Very explicit. She's meeting him tonight at the Orpheum Hotel." 9 p.m. You want me to forward you details? His heart lurches. There it is in black and white. A direct arrangement. Orpheum Hotel. 9 p.m. A wave of cold anger. He replies, yes, email me everything. I might pay them a visit. He's torn between smashing something or meticulously planning. The second approach wins, because if he wants her fully exposed, turning up unprepared might backfire. He needs an unstoppable plan. Afternoon shadows creep. Harrison double-checks the phone logs Nolan sent. There's a text from Brent. Room 1012, don't be late, bring that special outfit. Catherine responded, can't wait, perfect getaway. He rubs his temple, so she's meeting her lover in a hotel room. He wonders what special outfit means, but decides not to dwell on that sickening mental image. He calls Elise, the lawyer, but she's unavailable. Leaves a voicemail. Elise, it's urgent. My wife is about to commit an act of infidelity. I want to finalize asset protections. Call me back. He contemplates physically confronting them at the hotel, but a random blow-up might hamper his legal advantage. Instead, he arranges a friend to discreetly take photos. That friend, an off-duty private detective named Russ, recommended by Nolan. Russ claims he can snap clean pictures of them entering, leaving, maybe inside the hallway. Enough to be conclusive. Yes, photographic proof. Let Catherine try to talk her way out of that. Harrison coordinates with Russ. They plan for Russ to be in the Orpheum Hotel lobby by 8:30 p.m., camera phone in stealth mode. If possible, he'll tail them to the elevator, catch them stepping into room 1012. Meanwhile, Harrison will stay off-site. No need to blow the operation with an emotional confrontation. Let the pictures do the talking. He's deeply miserable about having to do this. A part of him wants to blow up. Another part demands calm, cunning. So he readies a small feed from Russ's phone to his laptop, planning to watch from home as events unfold. By 8:45 p.m., he sees the live feed. Russ is stationed in the lobby bar, facing the entrance. People come and go, but no sign of Catherine yet. At 8:59, Harrison's heart nearly stops when she appears on camera, wearing a sleek black dress, hair done meticulously. She scans the lobby, glances at her phone, then moves to the elevator bank. Russ shifts vantage and captures a side profile. That's definitely Catherine. Seconds later, a man approaches, dark hair, mid-30s, somewhat handsome in a slick way. He places a hand on her waist. They exchange a quick kiss. The camera wobbles, but Harrison sees enough. That must be Brent Rivers. They enter the elevator. The doors close. Russ texts, "They're going up. I'll follow." Harrison sits at his desk, fists clenched, staring at the feed. He can't hear them, but sees Russ slip into the next elevator, presumably going to the same floor. The stream flicks to a hallway vantage. Russ peeks around a corner. Catherine and Brent exit the elevator, laughing softly. They head to a door room 1012. Brent swipes a key card. They disappear inside. Russ manages a snapshot of the door closing behind them. Then he sends a final text. "Got it all. Let me know if you want more." Harrison leans back, heart pounding. This is the final blow. She's cheating. He has the photographic proof. He sits there feeling a tumult of rage, heartbreak, and oddly relief that he's not insane. She's with that man, in that hotel room, right this second. For a moment, tears threaten. He's never wanted to be the gullible husband who didn't see it coming. The betrayal stings like 1,000 needles. She used to giggle with him over silly movies, hold his hand on late-night walks by the pier. Now she's sneaking off to a hotel with Brent, not caring about the devastation left behind. He forces himself to breathe. He calls Nolan. "It's confirmed," he says shakily. "Russ got them entering room 1012. Nolan sighs. "Man, I'm sorry. Are you what's next?" Harrison's voice steadies. "I'm finishing this. I'm done playing the fool. I'll meet with Elise, protect everything. Then I want to teach them a lesson. If she wants to ruin me, I'll ruin her first. Nolan doesn't object. He knows there's no stopping Harrison's resolve. They hang up. Harrison stares into the night, the city lights beyond his window. He's not going to confront them physically tonight. He wants her to come home tomorrow, to lie again, and then he'll systematically dismantle her illusions. Maybe he'll do more than that. Maybe he'll orchestrate something bigger. Inside, a grim spark ignites. If she thinks she can waltz out with half his assets or live happily with Brent, oh, she's got another thing coming. Harrison barely sleeps. By dawn, he's showered, dressed, and pacing the kitchen. The clock reads 7:15 a.m. He wonders if Catherine will even bother coming home early. Maybe she'll appear at noon with a flimsy excuse. Or worse, skip home entirely. At 8, she breezes in, wearing the same black dress from last night. She tries to pass him with a quick morning. He steps in her path. Long night? Rehearsal run until 8 a.m.? Her eyes flash. Don't start, Harrison. I told you, we had a cast after party that ran late. He just watches, arms folded. Right, must have been quite a party. Booking a hotel room, yeah? She stiffens, feigns confusion. What hotel? Why do you always interrogate me? He exhales, controlling the anger. Don't lie, Catherine. We both know you weren't with any cast party. She crosses her arms. Stop accusing me. I'm done with this conversation. She tries to push past him. He doesn't physically block her, but stares. Voice calm. Keep lying, if that's what you want. But soon you won't have a leg to stand on. She gives him a venomous glare. You're paranoid. I'm going to shower. She stomps away, the bedroom door slamming behind her. Later that day, Elise finally returns his call. He explains the new developments, the photographic proof, the text logs, the potential ongoing affair. Elise's tone is sympathetic, yet firm. All right, Harrison, from a legal standpoint, this is gold. She can't dispute the adultery. So if you want a divorce, you're in a strong position to minimize spousal support or any claim on your business. But you hinted at wanting to do more than just a clean break? He rubs his temple. I want her exposed. I want to ensure she doesn't get a dime from me. If possible, I want the affair to blow up in her face. She's lied and manipulated me for months. Elise is quiet. We can push for a fault-based approach her infidelity. That sets the stage for a more punitive settlement. But be careful about stepping outside the law, okay? Harrison nods grimly, though she can't see him. I understand. Keep it legal, but maximum damage. I'm done being the nice guy. Understood, Elise says. We'll begin the formalities. Send me that evidence. I'll draft a petition. He feels relief. She's on his side. This is the first step in dismantling Catherine's illusions. Catherine spends the afternoon mostly locked in their bedroom, claiming she's resting. Harrison suspects she's texting or calling Brent, perhaps planning the next rendezvous. The energy in the house is suffocating. They barely speak. At one point, she emerges to grab a snack. He stands in the kitchen, quietly watching her rummage in the fridge. The tension is thick enough to taste. She spins, tries a casual tone. We could watch a movie tonight. Try to relax. I know we've both been stressed. He studies her, seeing the forced attempt at normalcy. Why not? Let's watch something about betrayal. That might be fitting. She scowls. If you're going to be sarcastic, forget it. She slams the fridge, storms away. Harrison shrugs. He's not interested in a superficial movie night. He's planning bigger moves. Around 5 p.m., Harrison's phone buzzes with a strange number. He answers warily. A man's voice. Hello? Is this Harrison Cole? My name's Brent Halliday, a friend of Nolan's. Right, the detective. Harrison recalls. "What's up? I heard about your situation. Nolan said you might want extra eyes on the ground. If you want deeper investigation, background checks on that Brent Rivers guy, or private photos, I can help. At minimal cost. I owe Nolan a favor." Harrison's lips tighten. "I appreciate that. Rivers is apparently an agent with questionable finances. I'd love to see what skeletons he's got. He might be using my wife for money or promising big roles that don't exist." Brent Halliday coughs lightly. "I can look into that. Also, if you want real-time surveillance, I can arrange it. Let me know your boundaries." Harrison glances down the hall, ensuring Catherine isn't eavesdropping. "Yes, I'd like that. Keep it discreet. I'll pay if you find something concrete." "Understood," Halliday says. They end the call. Harrison feels a surge of confidence. He's forging a network to corner Catherine and her lover. The final blow might be just around the corner. That evening, Ivy texts him. "Can I come by? I need to return something to Catherine." Harrison quickly replies, "Sure." When Ivy arrives, Catherine is conveniently out again, supposedly picking up groceries, though she's been gone for an hour. Ivy steps inside, exhaling. "Look, Harrison, I might know more than I let on. Brent Rivers approached me once, trying to sign me for costume gigs in L.A. The man's a creep. He's short on actual connections. I suspect he's scamming your wife, feeding her illusions, and she's falling for it." Harrison nods, feeling a twisted sense of pity for Catherine's gullibility. "So he's not even a real big shot?" Ivy shrugs. "He might have minor links, but nowhere near the hype he claims. He's known for cozying up to actresses, coaxing them with big talk." Harrison clenches his jaw. "And she's so desperate for a break that she'll betray me, risk everything." Ivy's eyes soften. "I'm sorry. I wish I could do more. She's my friend. But I hate what she's doing to you and to herself." He nods. "Thanks for being honest. Keep me posted if you learn anything else." Ivy hesitates. "She might get vicious if cornered. Promise me you'll be careful." He gives a short laugh. "I'm done being nice, but I'm not reckless. I'll handle it." Ivy leaves, giving him a worried look. The door closes. Harrison stands in the foyer, mind swirling with plans, each more cunning than the last. Late that night, with Catherine still absent, Harrison reviews code for Project Odyssey. That's his next big VR concept. He wonders if he can use it somehow to trap them some IP theft angle. Because if Brent tries to lure Catherine into stealing valuable code, that's a guaranteed legal takedown. He texts Nolan. "What if we float rumors I keep proprietary code at home? Let's see if they try to steal it." Nolan answers. "Risky, but it could catch them red-handed if they're after your money or tech. Let's plan carefully." Harrison stares at the phone, mind whirring. A slow grin forms. If Catherine wants a bigger break, maybe she'll do something reckless, like copying his VR code to impress Brent. Let them destroy themselves. Let them believe they can sell it to some LA contact. Then he'll pounce. Yes, a more devastating revenge than simply waving affair photos. He closes his eyes, imagining Catherine's stunned face when she realizes she's been outplayed. She wants drama? He'll give her drama. At 1 a.m., Catherine finally slips into the house, rummaging in the dark. Harrison, fully awake, stands in the living room. She startles upon seeing him. "Oh, didn't realize you were up," she mutters. He flicks on a lamp. "Where were you this time? Another cast party?" She flushes. "What's it to you? I told you I'm an adult. I can come and go as I please." He steps closer, voice dangerously quiet. "If you keep lying, you'll regret it." She squares her shoulders. "God, you're insufferable. If you can't handle my schedule, that's your problem, not mine." He gives a tight smile. "Sure, Let's see how that works out for you, Catherine. He steps aside, letting her pass. She storms to the bedroom, slamming the door. He stands alone, heart pounding. The time for half measures is over. The plan is forming. He's going to make them pay. Sleep comes in short bursts. He has a dream of her laughing on a stage while he stands behind the curtains, alone. Then a shadowy figure Brent whisks her away, cackling. The dream morphs into him unveiling some grand sabotage, watchers cheering. He jolts awake at dawn, sweat on his forehead. He whispers in the stillness, "You won't get away with this, Catherine." That morning, Elise calls. "We can file for divorce on grounds of adultery and protect your assets. Are you ready to serve her papers?" Harrison glances at the locked bedroom door where Catherine still sleeps. "Soon. But I have another angle. I suspect she and Brent might attempt IP theft if we lead them on. I want to set up a sting, then finalize everything. Is that workable?" Elise hesitates. IP theft is serious. If you can orchestrate it, it'll crush her in court. But it's a big gamble. Are you sure she'll take the bait? He inhales. She's desperate for a break. Brent might push her to get something valuable. They might break the law to do so. I'll ensure the code they attempt to steal is a decoy, so no real risk. The second they try, we call the cops. Then your divorce case is ironclad. She not only cheated, she committed attempted theft. She'll walk away with nothing, Elise says, tone impressed. All right, let's do it carefully. He nods, resolute. Let's do it. The next day, Harrison and Nolan sit in a quiet cafe, finalizing their plan. They'll spread a rumor that Harrison's Project Odyssey code is stored in a private downtown office, lightly secured, worth millions if sold to the right investor. Let's see if Brent urges Catherine to snag it. If we can get them physically breaking in or stealing the code, we call the cops mid-act, Harrison says. Photos, security footage game over for them. Nolan nods. We can rig cameras, a motion sensor, maybe an auto-lock system once they're inside. Harrison's lips curl in a grim smirk. Yes. Let them walk right into the trap. Part of him feels sick, stooping to subterfuge, but he reminds himself, they're the criminals. He's just exposing them. He messages Elise to confirm the timeline. She replies, as soon as you have evidence of attempted theft, we pounce. Meanwhile, I'll finalize your asset protection. Perfect. Harrison casually mentions to Catherine over dinner, I'm renting a small office for my next VR expansion. I need to store some prototypes. I might leave them partially unguarded for convenience. He shrugs, feigning nonchalance. Catherine's eyes flick with interest. Oh? You usually keep that code locked up at home? He nods. I found a cheap downtown spot. We'll see. It's hush-hush, though. The code alone could be worth millions. He watches her reaction carefully. She tries to mask it, but he sees a glimmer in her eyes. Greed or curiosity, probably thinking about telling Brent. Good. Nolan discreetly spreads word among some acquaintances that Harrison is storing a near-finished VR masterpiece in that downtown office. Possibly open to a big buyout if approached. The rumor is deliberately vague, guaranteeing that it might leak back to Brent. Within days, Ivy mentions that Catherine casually asked if Harrison's new project is really that valuable, as though fishing for specifics. Ivy plays coy, saying, oh, I heard it might revolutionize the industry. Harrison hears about this secondhand and knows the seeds are planted. He's patient, methodical, just waiting for them to try something reckless. Catherine's mood swings intensify. Some days, she's sweet and friendly, asking about Harrison's schedule. Other days, she's distant, locked in the bedroom on her phone. He senses that she's juggling how to approach him, or approach the potential code theft. He plays along, letting her think she's fooling him. Meanwhile, his arrangement with the downtown office is set. Nolan helped him rent a small space rigged with hidden cameras, plus an auto-lock system triggered by a phone app. If Catherine and Brent break in, they'll be caught on tape. No chance of denial. One evening, Harrison overhears Catherine on the phone, voice low but urgent. "Yes, I can get it." "No, he's not suspicious. The place is hardly secured." "Yeah, I'll text the address." Then she ends the call abruptly as she spots Harrison in the hallway. She attempts a guilty smile. "Oh, just talking to Ivy about costume stuff." He feigns a yawn, nods. Inside, adrenaline surges, so she's about to do it. She's texting Brent the address. "Good. Let them come." At midnight, Harrison receives a text from Nolan. Got a snippet from her phone logs. She told Brent about the VR code in that office. He's game to try grabbing it, possibly tomorrow night. Harrison exhales, heart thudding. So soon. The final showdown looms. He messages Elise, who responds. "Keep me posted. Once they attempt theft, call me. We'll bring the cops and finalize your divorce suit." He sits in the dark, mind racing, half excited, half sick. He pictures Catherine rummaging through his supposed files, smugly believing she's one step ahead, while in truth, the jaws of the trap are set to snap shut. Next morning, Catherine announces she's heading out for rehearsal around 8 p.m., might be gone late. Harrison just nods, saying he's busy with personal tasks. They share a weirdly polite conversation, each hiding intentions. As she leaves, he gently says, "Good luck at rehearsal." She smirks, maybe suspecting nothing or maybe feeling guilty. Hard to tell. She steps out, leaving the echo of her footsteps. Harrison prepares. He texts Nolan to ensure the office cameras are live. He meets Russ, the same friend who took the hotel photos, at the building, finalizing positions for the potential break-in. A silent alarm is ready. If they come, they'll be locked in. Everything recorded. 8:30 p.m. Harrison sits in his car, parked a block away from the office building. The streetlights cast a dull glow on damp sidewalks. He watches the live feed on his laptop. A small corner of him is anxious. What if they sense a trap? Or what if they do something violent? He's counting on them not being that bold. Time crawls. He sips bottled water, tries to keep steady. 9. 9:15. 9:30. Then on the feed, movement. A black sedan pulls up. The camera angle near the side entrance captures two figures stepping out Catherine, in a dark coat, and a man he recognizes from Russ's earlier photos. Brent Rivers. They approach the door, Brent fiddling with something maybe a lockpick or stolen key. Catherine is scanning the street nervously. Harrison's breath quickens. This is it. They slip inside the building door. The interior camera from the hallway shows them creeping along. Another locked door leads to Harrison's supposed office. Brent uses a small crowbar or tool to pry it open. The door yields. They enter the main room. Harrison sees their expressions excited, greedy. Brent rummages through a desk. Catherine goes for a computer labeled Odyssey Master Code. She tries to unplug it. Harrison triggers the silent alarm from his phone. The office door automatically locks behind them. They might not notice immediately. Meanwhile, cameras capture every second. Inside that dim, supposedly unguarded office, Catherine hisses Brent's name in a tense whisper. The overhead fluorescent hum flickers, revealing battered walls and cheap tile floors, definitely not a lavish workspace. Still to them, it's rumored to hold a goldmine of VR code. Catherine glances around uneasily. It's too quiet, she mutters. Her heart pounds, but she forces a smirk, trying to project confidence. Come on, hurry up. We can't stay long. Brent Rivers crouches near a metal filing cabinet. He's using slender metal tools to fiddle with a drawer lock. The faint click of his picks contrasts with the steady hush of the overhead lights. He's short of breath, adrenaline fueling each movement. In his mind, this is the final step before a big payoff, grabbing that Odyssey code, selling it to a backdoor contact, cashing in. Brent glances over his shoulder. Relax. If Cole's as clueless as you say, we've got plenty of time. Catherine tries ignoring the guilt that pricks her every time Brent sneers about Harrison. She's told herself that Harrison is stifling her dreams, that he's too obsessed with his coding to give her real emotional support. The script in her mind: he never truly saw my potential. But truth be told, a cold dread has lived in her gut for days, as if she's courting disaster. She eyes the battered desk on the far side of the room. A cheap nameplate that reads H. Cole rests crookedly there, a sly detail Nolan planted. That must be the real code station. A small monitor labeled Odyssey Master File. The sight of it makes her pulse jump. If Brent's promises are correct, this code is worth a small fortune. She pictures an easy path to L.A., top audition spots, no more languishing in local theater. She crosses the floor, carefully stepping over a tangle of wires. Let's get the main computer first. The desk might have the real stuff. Brent stands from the cabinet. Sure. This drawer's locked anyway, probably worthless. Let's grab the computer and bail. Catherine clutches the edge of the desk, hooking her fingers around the tower casing. It's surprisingly light. Odd. She frowns, tries to yank cords free. They're looped behind a locked side panel. She hisses, "Damn it, it's secured from the inside. We need something to cut these cables." Brent rummages in his small duffel bag. Got wire cutter somewhere, or maybe we can find the code on a flash drive. He motions toward a small external drive perched next to the monitor, labeled Odyssey Core. Catherine's eyes gleam. She picks it up. She whispers, "This must be it, if we can copy it now." Suddenly the overhead lights flicker, a hum intensifying. The door behind them, that same door they pried open, makes a clunk, as if an automatic lock just engaged. Both freeze. Brent spins, steps back to the door, tries the handle. It won't budge. Brent curses, "What the hell?" He yanks harder. No movement. Catherine's heart pounds. She blurts, "Stop messing around. Just open it." Brent's voice rises. "It's locked from the outside, baby. Something's fishy." She glances at the overhead fixtures, half expecting an alarm to blare. None so far. But an uneasy chill invades her. Could Harrison have set them up? No, he's too naive, right? A fresh wave of doubt churns in her stomach. They share a frantic look. The supposed unguarded nature of this place is now questionable. In a small control room 2 floors above, Nolan sits with Russ. On their monitors, multiple camera angles show Catherine and Brent's every move. The pair is locked in, eyes darting. Russ silently checks the live feed for any sign they're about to do something extreme. Russ murmurs, "They look spooked. I can phone the cops anytime." Nolan nods. "Harrison wants them red-handed. Let's see if they attempt to forcibly grab or tamper with the code. We want maximum incrimination." The 2 men watch as Brent and Catherine circle the office in agitation. From Nolan's vantage, it's oddly satisfying to see them panic. He's always disliked betrayals, and though he empathizes with Harrison's heartbreak, he's grateful to help orchestrate righteous payback. He glances at his phone, messaging Harrison. "They're locked in. Should we proceed?" Meanwhile, Harrison sits in his car, parked nearby, laptop balanced on his lap. The feed from Nolan shows him exactly what's happening inside that office. He sees Catherine pick up a flash drive labeled Odyssey Core, sees Brent rummaging for wire cutters. Fear flickers on their faces. He inhales slowly, heart twisting. Despite his anger, it hurts to watch her do this, to see her stoop to literal theft. Part of him wanted to believe she was just misguided, that maybe it was just an affair. But no, she's crossing serious lines now. He texts Nolan, "Wait until they actively tamper with the files or try to break out. Then call the cops. Let them sweat." He sets the laptop aside, stares through the windshield at the drizzle-soaked street. A swirl of guilt, heartbreak, and savage triumph collides in his mind. "You asked for this, Catherine." Inside the office, the tension mounts. Brent pries at the door with no success. Catherine paces, phone in hand. But she can't get a signal. Nolan deliberately blocked cell reception in that room. She scowls. No bars. Are we in some shielded space? Damn it, Brent growls. We need to get out. This is a trap. Catherine tries to stay calm. Could it be just a security measure? Let's not panic. We can probably force the lock with your tools. Brent fumbles in his duffel, pulling out a mini crowbar. He jams it into the door frame, muscles straining. The lock refuses to give. He curses, sweat beading on his forehead. She blurts, "We'll just finish copying the code and find another exit, right?" He grits his teeth, nods. "Sure, let's do that." They rush to the desk, that monitor still glowing with a minimal interface. The label, Odyssey Master Code. Brent rummages for a USB stick, but the screen demands some password. He mutters, "We'll try a forced copy. Or break open the tower, yank out the hard drive." Catherine steels herself, crossing her arms. She glances at the overhead corners, half expecting cameras. The hair on her neck stands up. She's beginning to suspect Harrison is behind this, but she's not ready to tell Brent she fears he'll blame her for underestimating her husband. She says, "Hurry up. We'll take the drive physically if we must." Brent forcibly unbolts the computer side panel. Sparks flick from a cable as he wrenches it free. Catherine flinches, heart pounding. This is so far beyond just borrowing files. It's literal burglary, sabotage, but she can't turn back now. She's come too far. As Brent yanks the drive, an electronic hum intensifies. Suddenly, a hidden speaker crackles to life somewhere overhead. A familiar male voice resonates, calm and chilling. "Enjoy rummaging through my non-existent code?" Catherine drops the flash drive, gasping. Brent whirls around, eyes wild. The voice continues. "You must think I'm a complete idiot, Catherine. Did you honestly believe I'd keep $1 million VR blueprint in an unlocked office?" She pales, recognizing Harrison's tone. A swirl of dread crushes her chest. So it was a trap. She knew it. She's speechless, throat tight. Brent shouts, "Who the hell is that? Where are you?" Harrison's pre-recorded or live voice, they can't tell, remains even. "In a place you can't reach. Doesn't matter. You're caught. The cameras see you. The door is locked. And yes, the cops are on standby." Catherine's heart hammers. She tries to muster defiance. "Harrison, listen, it's not what you think." The voice cuts her off. "Really? Because from here it looks exactly like theft, my dear wife." She shudders at how cold that last phrase sounds. My dear wife. Brent attempts bravado. "Let us out now, or we'll Harrison's voice." "Or you'll what? You're in no position to threaten me. I've got enough evidence to bury you both." He chuckles softly, a sound that makes Catherine's stomach twist. The reality of her betrayal stands starkly. She envisions news headlines. Local actress busted for attempted corporate theft. Her dreams might be ashes if they can't fix this. Brent, panicking, slams the desk with a fist. The overhead speaker crackles again. "Easy, buddy. Breaking more stuff won't help." Brent roars, "Come face us, you coward!" The speaker goes silent for a moment. Catherine grabs Brent's arm. "Stop it. If we push him too far, we're doomed." He jerks free, pacing. We're already doomed. He set us up, that bastard. All your talk about him being clueless like hell. She can't muster a response. She's angry at Brent for insulting Harrison, and equally furious at herself for being so naive. She can't decide who she hates more in this instant, Harrison for outsmarting them, or Brent for dragging her into deeper crime. She tries reasoning, maybe we can cut a deal. If we apologize, Harrison might let us go. No cops. Brent snorts. He's out for revenge. Didn't you hear that smug tone? In the control room above, Nolan sees them shouting at each other. He glances at Russ. Time to finish this? Russ nods. Yeah, let's do it. I'll call the cops. Nolan quickly texts Harrison. We'll have them picked up. They're cornered. Harrison, from his vantage in the car, reads it. A storm of emotions. He sends a final message. Yes, call them. Let them squirm a bit, then move in. Catherine tries again, speaking into the empty air. Harrison, if you're listening, I'm sorry. This got out of hand. Let us go and we can talk. Brent shoots her a glare. Don't beg him. Harrison's voice returns calmly. Talk about what? You lied to me for months. You came here to sabotage my project. Spare me the fake remorse. She starts trembling. It's not fake. I was lost. I made mistakes. Please, we can fix this. A bitter laugh emanates from the speaker. Fix it. You already made your bed. Now you'll face the consequences. Tears burn the back of her eyes. She can't stand how final he sounds. We can figure out an arrangement. We won't try anything like this again. The voice is cold. Too late. You tried. Now the law gets involved. Good luck explaining your way out. Maybe your big break in Hollywood will be a cameo behind bars. She chokes a sob. Brent curses under his breath, rummaging for a phone signal. No luck. The door remains immovable. Down on the street, 2 squad cars pull up, lights dimmed so as not to spook passers-by. Russ meets them, shows partial documentation that an attempted theft is in progress. They plan their approach. Inside the building, an overhead beep signals something. Catherine hears muffled footsteps in the hallway. She grips Brent's arm. This is it. They're here. Brent mutters, We'll fight the charges, say we got locked in by mistake. She snaps, Don't be stupid. We pried the door. They have footage. He barks back. You said your husband wouldn't suspect anything, that he was an oblivious code monkey. She fires. You're the one who said do this. You said it'd be a quick score. Now we're trapped. Their argument escalates. Meanwhile, the door suddenly unlocks with a mechanical hiss. They both freeze. For a second, hope sparks. Maybe they can flee. Then the door swings open, revealing 2 uniformed officers, guns not exactly drawn, but hands on holsters. Behind them stands Russ, calmly recording with his phone. Officer 1 steps forward. Hands where we can see them! Don't move! Catherine's knees nearly buckle. Brent looks ready to protest, but the officer's stern tone warns him otherwise. They lift their hands, hearts pounding. Officer 2 scans the scene-broken lock, crowbar, computer tower, half-gutted. Well, that's pretty damning evidence. Catherine tries to speak. Wait, WWE, this is all a misunderstanding. Officer 1 shakes his head. We got a report of illegal entry, attempted theft of proprietary data. Looks like that's what's happening. Brent throws up his hands. We have the right to remain silent or whatever. This is an illegal setup. Russ remarks dryly, Nice try. Everything's documented. The harsh click of handcuffs, the swirl of red-blue lights outside. Catherine stands on the curb, shivering in the damp air, arms behind her back. Brent is a few feet away, cursing at an officer. Cameras flash from passing phones, some random pedestrians capturing the spectacle. Her mind whirls. This can't be real. Less than an hour ago, she thought she'd pull off a stealthy heist to secure a better future. Now she's cuffed, publicly humiliated. She glances around anxiously. Harrison is nowhere to be seen. She hates him in this moment, hates him for orchestrating such a brutal trap, hates him for exposing her. Yet a twisted part of her knows she's the one who trespassed, who betrayed. Officer 2 lowers her voice. "Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say?" Catherine tunes out, tears brimming. Next to her, Brent is spitting venom at another cop. "We were locked in there illegally. That psycho husband locked the door on us. He can't do that." Officer 1 responds calmly. "If you hadn't broken in, it wouldn't matter how many locks he had." Catherine closes her eyes, wishing she could vanish. "You've destroyed everything," a voice in her head screams. A short distance away, Nolan and Russ stand near the building entrance, discreetly monitoring. Russ flicks through the footage he's gathered, crystal clear images of them prying the lock, rummaging. Good. That ensures any attempt to claim entrapment is laughable. Nolan shakes his head. "This is harsh. But it's what Harrison wanted." Russ pockets his phone. "Yep. If they planned some fancy lawyer trick, we have enough evidence to bury them." They watch the cops guide Catherine and Brent into separate patrol cars. Nolan wonders if Catherine regrets her choices or if she still blames Harrison. The set of her shoulders suggests utter defeat. From his vantage in the parked car down the block, Harrison sees the flashing lights. He sees Brent flailing curses, shoved into the back of a police cruiser. Then he sees Catherine, head bowed, tears streaking her face, hair disheveled. For a heartbeat, his chest constricts with sorrow. This was once the woman he adored. But the wave of betrayal quickly reasserts itself. She tried to wreck him. She took him for a fool. He murmurs to himself, "You chose this path, Catherine." He wants to get out, to confront her face to face, to see her expression, but he restrains himself. Let her wonder. Let her stew in the immediate humiliation. He'll handle the confrontation on his terms later. As the cruisers drive off, Harrison grips the steering wheel. Step 1 of his revenge is complete. Catherine ends up in a holding cell that night, processed for attempted burglary, tampering with private property. She's never felt so low. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, making her head pound. She clutches her arms around her, cold metal bench beneath her. Another woman sits in a corner, eyes closed, presumably in for some unrelated crime. The stench, sweat, disinfectant, stale fear churns her stomach. She tries to recall if there's any possible spin that can rescue her from this. "I was set up," she might claim, but the cops saw enough to charge her. Her phone is confiscated. She can't call Harrison, not that he'd help. She sees no immediate way out. Around midnight, an officer calls her name. "Catherine Cole?" She stands, legs shaky, and the officer leads her to a desk for basic questioning. They ask for an official statement. She stammers something about wrong place, misunderstood. They remain stoic, noting everything. No one is sympathetic. When they're done, she's marched back to the cell. She sinks onto the bench, face in her hands. She pictures her once familiar bed at home, the safety of that life. Gone. She's truly locked out, literally and figuratively. In a separate holding area, Brent paces like a caged animal. Every inch of him seethes with anger. He curses Catherine for failing to warn him how cunning Harrison was. He curses Harrison for humiliating them. He curses the entire fiasco. He snarls at the overhead camera. "You'll pay for this, Cole, you slimy." A guard barks, "Shut it, buddy." He clamps his mouth, fists clenched. He imagines some back-alley contact who might bail him out. But realistically, who'd help a small-time agent overshadowed by scandal? He tried scamming the wrong guy. Now everything's in flames. A part of him wonders if it's better to pin everything on Catherine. Let the cops think she orchestrated it. She's the wife. She had the inside track. Maybe he can cut a deal to walk free. Yeah? Blame her. That might work. The seed of betrayal sprouts in his mind. If Catherine could betray her husband, what's to stop Brent from betraying Catherine? At dawn, Catherine is released on bail, though the charge stands. She's told to appear for a hearing in a few days. She stumbles out of the station, hair a mess, eyes red, no money, no phone. She begs the officer at the desk to let her call someone. The officer points her to a payphone in the lobby. She scrounges enough coins from her coat pockets. Who to call? Ivy? Possibly. She picks up the phone, dials Ivy's number. After several rings, a bleary voice answers. Hello? Catherine's voice cracks. Ivy, it's me. I'm in big trouble. Can you come get me? A pause. Then Ivy sighs. Yeah, okay, where are you? Outside the precinct, Catherine mumbles. Please hurry. Ivy arrives half an hour later, face etched with concern. She quietly escorts Catherine to her car. They drive in silence for a bit. Finally, Ivy blurts, What the hell, Cat? Did you actually break into Harrison's office? Catherine's eyes brim with tears again. He set me up. It was a trap. But yes, I guess we broke in. Ivy exhales, knuckles tight on the wheel. I told you you were playing with fire. Now you're arrested for crying out loud. Where's Brent? Catherine clenches fists. He got arrested too. But I don't know if he's out on bail. I haven't seen him. Ivy softly. So what's your plan now? Catherine stares at her lap. I don't know. I need to talk to Harrison. Maybe I can fix this. Ivy just sighs. Fix it how? You committed a crime. He's not going to be all forgiving after you basically tried to steal from him. Catherine can't respond. She just stares out the window, tears slipping down her cheeks. She's not used to feeling so helpless. Ivy doesn't take Catherine to the Cole residence. She doubts Harrison wants her there. Instead, she drives her to her own small apartment. Catherine collapses on Ivy's sofa, hugging a throw pillow. Ivy offers a glass of water. Here. You're pale. Drink. Catherine gulps it down, mind swirling. I don't know if I can face him. He probably hates me, and I can't face my parents. They'll disown me if they hear I was arrested. Ivy's expression is a mix of pity and exasperation. You brought this on yourself, but yeah, it's harsh. Maybe get a lawyer, see if you can reduce charges, or beg Harrison not to press them further. Catherine rubs her forehead. A headache pounds, a swirl of shame and regret. She can't help but recall the speaker's voice. No second chances. She wonders if there's any chance to salvage her marriage or if it's irreversibly broken. Probably the latter. She even wonders if he's already started divorce proceedings. She mumbles, I need a shower and fresh clothes. Then maybe I'll try calling Harrison. Ivy leads her to the tiny bathroom, offers her some spare clothes. Catherine steps under the lukewarm water, letting it wash away the physical grime of jail, though not the emotional weight. What have I done? While Catherine spends that morning at Ivy's, Harrison sits at the kitchen table, phone in hand, reading a text from Elise. All going smoothly. We have more than enough for fault-based divorce. I recommend we proceed ASAP. Let's finalize the asset reallocation. He sips coffee, not sure if he feels victory or emptiness. The house is eerily quiet. Usually, at this hour, Catherine might be rummaging for breakfast. Now, the memory of her presence stings. He notices a small detail on the table, the salt and pepper shakers they bought together at a farmer's market 2 years back. The sentimental stuff hits unexpectedly, but he steels himself. She's done. He types a response to Elise. Yes. Proceed. I want her out of my life. He sets the phone down, stands. Another text arrives from Nolan. The police have them booked. I guess Catherine posted bail. She's out. Brent might still be in. Let me know if you need anything else. Harrison murmurs. She's out already, no surprise. Probably ran crying to Ivy. He wonders if she'll try to show up here. If she does, he's ready. If not, all the better. He mentally rehearses an ultimatum. Either sign the divorce or face a brutal legal fight. A part of him thirsts for retribution beyond the legal sphere, but he knows Elise would warn him not to cross lines. By late afternoon, Catherine musters the courage to call Harrison from Ivy's phone. He sees the unknown number, contemplates letting it ring out. Then he answers in a clipped tone. Yes? Catherine's voice wavers. Harrison, it's me. He cuts in, what do you want? She swallows tears. I'm out on bail. Please, can we talk? Face to face? A long pause. Talk about what, exactly? How you lied, cheated, and tried to steal from me? She winces. I'm so sorry, I lost my head. It's Brent's idea. He pressured me. Harrison's voice hardens. Stop it! You're an adult. You made your choice. I don't want to hear excuses. Her eyes brim with tears. Can we just meet somewhere neutral, talk about everything? We can find a solution. I'll do anything, pay you back, or... He exhales. Catherine, I plan on divorcing you. I have enough evidence to ruin any claim you think you have. So, unless you want to accept that, I'm not interested in further discussion. She shakes her head, even though he can't see it. No, please. Let's at least meet. I owe you an apology. Please, Harrison. He's silent for a few beats. Fine. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., at the cafe near Mercer Street. You show up alone. If you bring Brent or any nonsense, I walk. She sniffs, relief mingling with dread. Okay, I'll be there, thank you. He hangs up abruptly. She sets down Ivy's phone, shuddering. That was the coldest he's ever sounded, but at least he agreed to a meeting. Maybe there's a shred of hope, or maybe it's just the final nail in their marriage. She stands, telling Ivy, he'll meet me tomorrow. Ivy just sighs. Good luck. You'll need it. Morning sunlight filters through Seattle's clouds as Catherine arrives at the small cafe near Mercer Street. It's only half full at 9:45 a.m. She's early, nerves strung tight. She picks a table in the corner back to the wall. She wants to see Harrison the moment he enters. She wears simple jeans and a cardigan borrowed from Ivy she has no desire to flaunt or provoke. She just wants to look regretful. She is regretful. A swirl of fear and shame churns in her chest. Will he even show? At exactly 10 hours, Harrison steps in, eyes scanning. He spots her, expression unreadable. He moves to her table, sets down a small folder. No hello? No gentle greeting. She forces a smile. Thanks for coming. He sits. Let's make this brief. A waitress approaches, offering menus. Harrison shakes his head. Just coffee for me. Catherine murmurs the same. They wait in silence until the waitress leaves. Catherine starts softly. I know I can't undo what happened, but I'm sorry, genuinely. I lost sight of reason. Brent convinced me we'd... Harrison lifts a hand. Stop blaming Brent. You're not a child. You knew what you were doing. She nods miserably. Yes, I did. I let ambition and frustration overshadow my morals. I was desperate for a break. I felt overshadowed by your success. I resented how you poured everything into your VR while my theater dreams stalled. But that doesn't excuse my betrayal. He regards her calmly, though his eyes flick with residual hurt. At least you admit it. So what do you want? You said you'd do anything to fix this. The only fix is that we're done. I'm divorcing you. Her stomach drops. Could we at least settle the theft charges out of court? I can't handle a criminal record. He snorts. After what you pulled, you want me to let you off scot-free? You invaded my trust and my property. Did you think I'd just shrug? She stammers. I'll cooperate with your demands. If you drop the charges, we can finalize a divorce settlement that's fair, I guess. I won't fight for your assets. I promise. He arches an eyebrow. You realize the police have their own process, right? It's not solely my call now. Attempted theft is a serious matter. That said, my influence might help or hurt. I could push the prosecutor to go harder or step back. It depends on your cooperation. A spark of hope flutters in her chest. So you might push them to lighten the punishment? He shrugs. If you sign everything I want. No spousal support, no chunk of my business, no claims on the house, plus an official fault-based divorce. Then maybe I won't push for the maximum penalty. She swallows. I'll sign. I just can't go to prison. Her voice trembles. I can't believe it's come to this. He stares, voice low. You did that? Not me. She looks down, tears threatening. Yes. Harrison slides the small folder across the table. Inside are photocopies of text logs. The photos of you two at the Orpheum, plus the break-in footage. All the evidence for the DA. I want you to see what I can use against you if you dare fight or try to manipulate me again. She opens it, feeling a wave of nausea as she sees her own face, entwined with Brent, time-stamped. The break-in images are even more incriminating. She can't bear to look long. She whispers, I get it. You have everything. He nods. Sign my divorce terms and I'll consider telling the DA I don't want to vigorously pursue sentencing. But I can't guarantee they'll drop it entirely. You'll probably get community service or a fine. She bows her head. Better than prison. You have my word I won't contest the divorce. Catherine musters the courage to ask, what about Brent? Are you pushing charges on him too? Harrison scoffs. He's more culpable than you, probably. Trying to glean my code. Resell it, I'll do my best to ensure he rots. But if it helps your case, maybe I'll let the DA know he was the mastermind. She exhales. I don't want to see him again. She realizes how hollow it sounds. She used to think Brent was her savior. Now, he's the cause of her downfall, or so she tries to believe. It's easier than facing her own complicity. Harrison narrows his eyes. That's up to you. But from the outside, he certainly manipulated you. Doesn't excuse you, though. She nods, tears slipping. I know. The waitress returns with coffee, sensing the tension, sets the mugs down, quickly retreats. Harrison waits until she's out of earshot. Then, he speaks quietly. I'm giving you 24 hours to decide. Sign the documents, or I push for full prosecution. Your choice. Don't test me. She grips the coffee mug, blinking tears. I'll sign them. I promise. Just send me the paperwork. He stands. My lawyer will be in touch. He moves to leave. She blurts, Harrison, She wants to say, I still love you, but the words die on her tongue. She knows it means nothing now. He doesn't look back. We're done here. He strides out, shoulders set. She stares at the empty seat, sobbing silently. The cafe's ambient noise seems distant as the reality sinks deeper. She lost her husband, her moral standing, and possibly her career in one disastrous wave. Catherine remains at the table for another 15 minutes, sipping coffee absently, tears drying in tracks on her cheeks. Eventually, she realizes she's just loitering, so she pays for the coffee. Though Harrison had the folder, she doesn't want to appear to skip out on the bill. Outside, the city's bustle feels alien. People pass with no idea of her drama. She contemplates heading to the theater, but she's sure word has spread of her arrest. She imagines pitying looks from castmates, or worse, condemnation. She opts to walk aimlessly for a bit. She thinks about calling her parents, but What would she say? I messed up? Might have a criminal record? She can't bear the shame, so she wanders the streets, hugging her arms, lost in a swirl of guilt. Eventually, she ends up back at Ivy's apartment. Ivy greets her with worried eyes. How'd it go? Catherine slumps on the couch. He's divorcing me. Gave me 24 hours to sign away everything or he'll push for maximum charges. Ivy exhales. Can't say it's surprising. Are you going to sign? She nods. Of course. I have no leverage. I'll end up homeless, probably jobless, but maybe I can salvage something. Ivy sits beside her. You can stay here as long as you need, and maybe you can find smaller theater gigs, do something to get back on your feet, or leave town if that's better, but do the right thing with Harrison's demands. Catherine sniffles. Thanks, I appreciate it. I've never felt so lost. Ivy rubs her shoulder sympathetically. Try to see a lawyer or a counselor, and if your parents can handle it, eventually you might tell them. But for now, focus on not going to prison, okay? Catherine nods weakly, tears threatening again. She wonders how her life spiraled so fast, from dreaming of stardom to crashing into potential criminal sentencing. Elsewhere, Harrison meets Elise in her office, a sleek, modern space with glass walls. He hands over the folder of evidence. She reviews it quickly, nodding in approval. This is airtight. She won't contest anything. Harrison sighs. She said she'll sign. Just finalize the docs. Let's do it tomorrow. Elise types on her laptop. We can file for a fault-based divorce under Washington law, citing adultery and attempted theft. The asset reallocation means you keep the house, the VR brand, everything. He nods, expression grim. Yes, that's exactly what I want. Elise looks up. And you're sure about no reconciliation? Sometimes people... He cuts her off. She destroyed my trust. It's over. Elise raises an eyebrow. Understood. I'll have everything ready by tomorrow. She can sign or face the consequences. He stands. Perfect. As he leaves, a swirl of triumph mingles with a strange emptiness. It's not easy to nuke a marriage, but after everything, it's the only path forward. Around the same time, Brent Rivers manages to post bail through a contact he once did business with. He emerges from county lockup seething. His phone, returned to him, pings with a flurry of messages, some from shady acquaintances, some from suspicious industry folks hearing rumors of his arrest. He curses quietly. This scandal might end his agent hustle for good. He scowls, ignoring half the texts, focusing on one from a local attorney who might represent him cheaply. Then he sees a text from Catherine, sent before she lost her phone, that reads, What do we do if we're caught? I'm scared. He sneers. Too late for that. He contemplates selling her out to lighten his own charges. He can claim she orchestrated the break-in, that she had the inside track, the key knowledge. If it saves him from serious jail time, he has no qualms. Their fling was purely opportunistic anyway. He mutters, Screw loyalty. He dials his new attorney's number, intending to see if pinning blame on Catherine helps. Morning light filters into Ivy's living room. Catherine sits at the small dining nook, wearing sweatpants, hair unkempt. A knock at the door startles them. Ivy opens it, revealing a courier who hands over an envelope with Elise's firm name. Ivy turns. It's for you, Catherine. Catherine's stomach churns as she tears open the envelope. Inside are the official divorce papers, along with a typed note. Sign every page. Return them to my office by 5 p.m., or face the alternative. Elise Carter, Esky. She scans the legal jargon. She's forfeiting spousal support, any claim to Harrison's property, acknowledging fault due to infidelity and illegal actions. Reading it triggers deep shame. This is it. I lose everything. She reminds herself that not signing means a brutal court battle plus jail. She glances at Ivy. I have no choice. Ivy nods. No, you don't. Sign and move on. Catherine's hand trembles as she scribbles her signature on each line, tears splashing onto the page. She wonders if 4 years of marriage was so easily undone by pen strokes. Yes, apparently. Once the papers are signed, Catherine hesitates about how to return them. She decides she can't face Elise's office alone. She calls a rideshare and heads downtown. The law firm is in a tall building. She ascends in an elevator, each ding resonating in her chest. She steps into a sterile reception area. A receptionist greets her politely, no judgment on her face. Catherine announces, I'm returning these for Ms. Carter. The receptionist nods. Wait a moment. She disappears, then reemerges with Elise behind her. Elise is a poised woman, impeccable suit, calm gaze. Elise greets, Catherine, you have them? Catherine hands over the envelope. All signed. Elise quickly checks, flipping pages. Satisfied, she extends a handshake Catherine can't bring herself to reciprocate. Elise says calmly, I'll inform Harrison. He may or may not contact you. Also, you'll hear from the DA regarding the theft charges. If you comply, we'll advise them you're remorseful. Catherine's voice emerges hoarse. Thank you. Elise's expression is unreadable. Good luck, Miss Cole. Then she turns and disappears behind frosted glass doors. Catherine stands there, gutted. No longer Ms. Cole, truly she's about to revert to Catherine James. She leaves, heart heavy. Harrison receives Elise's call confirming the papers are signed. He stares at his phone in the quiet of his house, now fully recognized as such. He exhales, a surreal mix of relief and sadness. No more illusions about salvaging the marriage. He murmurs, So that's it then. He paces the living room, noticing random items that once were theirs. Decorative pillows Catherine chose, a painting from her friend's gallery. He wonders if he should box them up or let them remain as hollow reminders. He decides to pack them away tomorrow. He's not a man to cling to ghosts. The phone buzzes again, Nolan. Harrison picks up. Nolan's cheerful. Congrats, man. She signed, right? Harrison responds quietly. Yeah. It's final. Or will be soon. Nolan hesitates. You okay? Harrison shrugs. As okay as one can be after ripping out 4 years of marriage, but it had to happen. They chat a bit about next steps. Nolan suggests they celebrate or at least get some fresh air. Harrison declines for now he needs solitude. They end the call. He wanders to the bedroom, noticing the faint imprint of Catherine's former presence. He steels himself, reminding, She cheated. She tried to rob me. That's the reality. He's free, albeit painfully so. Meanwhile, Brent sits in a cramped booth at a shabby diner, swirling cheap coffee. A newly hired defense attorney sits across from him, expression bored. Brent explains how Catherine is the real insider, how the attempt was mostly her idea. Attorney lifts a brow. But the footage shows you physically prying the lock. Brent scowls. Because she told me. That's where the code was. She insisted. I was just helping. The attorney sighs, as if unconvinced. Look, the DA has enough to charge both of you. If you want a lesser charge, you might claim you were coerced by her. But you need more than your word. Do you have texts or recordings that show she planned it? Brent flips through his phone, cursing at how many of his own texts implicate him instead. Not exactly, but come on. She was married to the guy. She was the one who gave me inside info. Attorney shrugs. We can spin it, but I can't promise success. Also, rumor says Cole is pushing for maximum penalty on you. The wife might get a lighter deal. Brent's face darkens. He's out to destroy me. Let me guess she's probably claiming it was all me. He rakes a hand through his hair. Fine. Let's do what we can. I refuse to take the fall alone. The attorney nods. We'll start negotiations. You might get probation if we spin it right, or minimal jail time. But it's messy. Brent slumps. Just do it. He glances out the diner window, vowing to never let Catherine or Harrison come out unscathed, if he can help it. A week passes. The divorce finalization moves swiftly, thanks to fault-based evidence. Catherine formally receives notice that her marriage is dissolved. She packs her few personal items from Ivy's place, some clothing, old scripts, minor keepsakes, and contemplates collecting anything from Harrison's house. She texts him a polite request. Could I come by and grab my personal stuff? I'll keep it short. He replies hours later. Fine. Friday at noon, I'll be out. The door will be unlocked. Don't linger. Her heart tugs at how impersonal it is, but at least she can retrieve her belongings. She suspects he wants no face-to-face, just a silent, final extraction. She sighs heavily. Come Friday noon, Catherine arrives by rideshare. The house stands as familiar as ever, that modest porch where she once sipped coffee and watched sunsets with Harrison. Now it feels haunted by memory. She tries the front door unlocked, as promised. Inside, the hush is almost oppressive. She notices he's stacked some boxes labeled Catherine's stuff near the living room. The rest of the house is tidier, sparser. It's like he purged any trace of her. A pang hits her chest. She murmurs to herself, 4 years, wiped away. She moves to the bedroom, sees the closet half empty. He left a small pile of her old dresses, some shoes. She quickly packs them into a suitcase. She avoids looking at the bed too long, remembering the good times and the ugly final nights. At one point, she pauses, picking up a framed photo from the dresser taken on their honeymoon, both smiling on a beach. She feels tears, but sets it back. She can't bear illusions. An hour later, she's done. She leaves the keys on the kitchen counter. Before going, she scribbles a short note on a scrap of paper. Thank you for letting me get my things. I'm sorry it ended like this. She sets it by the salt and pepper shakers, ironically the same she once chose. Then she exits. The final goodbye. Days turn into weeks. Catherine struggles to find stable footing. The theft charges linger. Her public reputation in local theater is tarnished. A few small roles vanish as rumors swirl about her arrest. She tries auditioning out of town but hits constant roadblocks. She's living off Ivy's kindness. She consults a public defender about her case. The PD suggests negotiating a plea, maybe community service, restitution, if Harrison's side doesn't push for maximum sentencing. She's told she'll probably face a court date soon. Her nights are sleepless, plagued by nightmares of a locked office door. She also wrestles with heartbreak despite her wrongdoing. Part of her misses the comfort of Harrison's presence. She tries not to text him, assuming he'd ignore or block her anyway. Meanwhile, Harrison's life stabilizes. No more daily tension, no more fights. He buries himself in finalizing Project Odyssey for a big investor pitch. Nolan remains a close ally, occasionally bringing over dinner or beer. One evening, Nolan asks, "Now that you're free, any chance you'll date again?" Harrison chuckles wryly. "I'm not sure. I'm still processing the betrayal. Not eager to jump back into romance. Let me just focus on my VR empire." Nolan nods. "Makes sense. At least you can rest easy. She won't claim half your business." Harrison gives a tight smile. "True. That's one silver lining. And yeah, the house is quiet but peaceful." He sometimes feels pangs of loneliness, especially on weekend mornings. But he repeats the mantra. She tried to ruin me. That steels his resolve. At last, Catherine receives the formal summons to a hearing regarding the attempted theft. She trembles reading it, The date is set a few weeks away. She meets with her public defender, who suggests they approach Harrison's lawyer about a plea bargain. Catherine's stomach flips. She doesn't relish confronting him indirectly again, but it's her best shot. Her PD contacts Elise, who indicates that if Catherine pleads guilty and expresses remorse, Harrison won't push for the harshest sentence. This might translate to a year's probation or 100 hours community service. She clings to that hope. She wonders if Brent has a different deal or if he's trying to pin blame on her. No official updates yet, but she braces for the possibility that he might betray her further. The final days before Catherine's hearing crawl by in a dull haze. Ivy's small apartment has become both her refuge and her prison. No job prospects, no comfortable routines. She rarely steps outside unless forced anxious about whispers, rumors, that intangible cloud of shame hovering above her every move. Each morning, Catherine sits at Ivy's little kitchen table, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee. She scrolls job listings on an old tablet, seeing few that suit her once ambitious acting goals. She tries local retail, admin gigs, anything. The phone never rings back. Some employers must have heard the scandal or can sense her desperation. Ivy leaves early for costume design gigs, returning late. She's polite, but a subtle tension exists. How long can Catherine crash here? They rarely address that question directly, but Catherine senses the strain. She vacuums, washes dishes, tries to show gratitude. She's aware that without Ivy's kindness, she'd be on the street. Each day, she checks in with her public defender, PD. He updates her on potential deals. If Harrison's side remains cooperative, you'll likely avoid prison, he says, but you must plead guilty, show remorse. Catherine cringes, hating how she's pinned in. Then again, she's more than pinned, she's caged by her own poor choices. One evening, she stands on Ivy's tiny balcony, gazing at the city lights. She recalls her dreams of becoming a headlining theater star, maybe transitioning to film. Now I'm an ex-con in the making. She can't tell if she's more furious at Brent for fueling her illusions, or at herself for letting ambition overshadow common sense. Meanwhile, Harrison thrives in post-divorce clarity. Not that the emotional scars vanish, but he channels the pain into laser focus on Project Odyssey. Freed from marital conflict, his daily routine flows. Morning coffee, VR code till afternoon, break for a run, then more code. He occasionally meets Nolan to discuss final investor pitches. A tech giant shows interest in licensing Odyssey once it's ready. The potential payday dwarfs anything Harrison previously imagined. He's close to finalizing a playable demo to show at an upcoming private expo. The thought of presenting it to bigwigs without Catherine's presence, once he might have pictured her cheering him on, triggers mixed emotions. Focus, he tells himself, ignoring the pang of regret. Every few days, Elise calls or emails with minor legal housekeeping about the divorce. It's essentially done. The papers are signed, fault established, spousal support waived. You're fully protected, she reminds him. All that remains is her sentencing. Harrison feels a sense of grim satisfaction. He doesn't actively wish for Catherine's imprisonment, but part of him acknowledges that if she suffers a bit more, that's on her. In the evenings, he notices how quiet the house is. Sometimes the hush expands into loneliness, a subtle ache he can't entirely banish. He tries not to dwell on the memories. Instead, he contemplates small renovations, maybe repaint the living room, reorder furniture, erase traces of the life they built together. Step by step, he's forging a new world, just as he does with VR shaping reality to his design. Brent Rivers, out on bail, experiences a drastically different reality. Word has spread among local aspiring actors that Brent is a scammer facing charges. Potential clients vanish. Even older connections freeze him out. He's behind on rent, forced to move to a shabby weekly motel. He tries calling old friends, but few answer. His lawyer warns him. Cole's team is set on pressing felony charges. If you can't prove extenuating circumstances, you might see real jail time. Brent contemplates throwing Catherine fully under the bus. The attorney shrugs. It might reduce your sentence a bit, but you still physically broke in. Each day, Brent curses the situation. He contemplates fleeing the state, but that'd worsen things if caught. He's in a corner, either face the hearing or break the law again. The latter is a bad plan. So he waits, stewing in rancor, blaming everyone but himself. One afternoon, a desperate flicker of hope arises for Catherine. A local fringe theater calls to ask if she'll do a small cameo role, a last-minute fill-in for an actress who dropped out. Initially, Catherine's heart leaps. Maybe not all is lost. Then the director clarifies, "We know about the rumor. Some folks refuse to cast you, but we're in a bind. If you can keep your head down, we'd appreciate the help." She's torn. It's a humiliating, near-pity offer, but she's starving for any stage time, any paycheck. She agrees. The cameo is small, lines minimal. Still, stepping onto any stage again feels momentarily like home. But the director's frosty politeness and side glances from cast mates confirm her tarnished reputation. Awkward scenes. Rehearsals are short and mechanical. People murmur about the alleged break-in. She overhears whispers, heard she was in jail, heard she tried to rob her own husband. Some pity her, others scorn her. She tries to ignore them, focusing on reciting lines. Each syllable, however, reminds her of the heights she once aimed for. Now, she's a disgraced cameo performer. Despite the humiliation, she perseveres, hoping it'll provide some meager check or at least keep her from total despair. The day of the formal hearing creeps closer. Catherine's anxiety skyrockets. One night, she sits with Ivy in the living room, reviewing potential statements she might read in court. Ivy reads aloud from a drafted page. "I deeply regret my actions was influenced by misguided ambition. Sincerely apologize." Ivy looks up. It's decent. Sounds contrite. "Are you sure it's from your heart?" Catherine's eyes glisten. "Yes, I do regret it. It's not an act. But the words feel so hollow on paper. I don't know if the judge will buy it." Ivy sets the paper down, sighs. "Then speak honestly. Don't oversell a sob story, just show genuine remorse. Mention that you're finalizing the divorce, have no intention to bother Harrison again. That might help." Catherine nods, voice trembling. "I'll do that. I can't keep living in fear of prison. Even short jail time, it terrifies me. I'll do anything to avoid that." They sit quietly. Ivy rests a hand on her shoulder. "Good luck tomorrow. I'll come with you if you want." Catherine's lips quiver. "Thank you. I'd appreciate the support." Meanwhile, Harrison also prepares for the hearing from his side. Elise's last note indicated the DA might accept a plea from Catherine. The hearing might formalize her penalty. He feels a numb satisfaction. Let her see the system's verdict. That evening, he stands in his living room, gazing at the final Odyssey prototype. Tomorrow, after the hearing, he'll conduct a remote investor demo. His life is at a pivot. Ex-wife facing sentencing, major VR milestone. The symmetry is startling. He wonders if he'll see Catherine in the courtroom, her face, her reaction. He steels himself, recalling her betrayal. He murmurs to the empty room, "No sympathy. She made her bed." Then returns to debugging code. Bright, clear skies greet them on hearing day. Ivy drives Catherine to the courthouse. Catherine's insides roil with nerves. She wears a conservative blazer, hair neatly tied back. She imagines it might convey seriousness or maturity. They arrive early, heart pounding. The long corridor with rows of benches, lawyers passing by, a few anxious defendants around. Catherine fidgets, scanning for Brent or Harrison. She sees neither yet. Ivy holds her hand in silent reassurance. Her public defender appears, adjusting his tie. Here's the plan. We plead guilty, accept the recommended plea agreement, community service, probation, restitution. If the DA doesn't object, the judge likely goes along. But if Cole's attorney pushes for stiffer punishment, we may have to argue more. Catherine nods, swallowing hard. Okay. At 9 a.m., they enter the modest courtroom. Rows of seats face the judge's bench. Catherine's gaze darts around. She spots Brent in a corner, scowling at his phone. He doesn't look her way. Possibly he's decided to blame her entirely. Elise sits at a table with a calm expression, presumably representing Harrison's interests, or at least monitoring. Harrison is absent. He might not need to appear personally since the criminal matter is between her and the state. A small pang of something, regret, relief, flickers in her chest. She edges to the defense table with her PD, heart hammering. The DA's rep, a lean woman with stern eyes, stands opposite. The hearing starts with procedural formalities. The judge calls both defendants' names. Catherine James Cole, Brent Rivers, each with their counsel. They approach. The judge glances at the docket. Case: attempted theft, illegal entry, property damage. The DA states her stance. We have clear evidence the defendants forcibly entered Mr. Cole's property, attempted theft of proprietary code. Both previously arrested, out on bail. We're open to a plea if they accept guilt. Brent's lawyer tries a mild spin. My client was under the impression that Ms. Cole had permission to retrieve code she co-owned. He was misled, in essence. Catherine's stomach drops. Brent is absolutely throwing her under the bus. She glances at him, fury stirring. Catherine's PD swiftly interjects. That's not accurate. Ms. Cole does not disclaim her role, but Mr. Rivers orchestrated the break-in. She was manipulated. They begin a short back and forth, each side painting the other as the main culprit. The judge, a middle-aged man with a weary expression, bangs his gavel lightly to restore calm. Judge. One at a time, counselors. Let's see if we have a joint plea or separate pleas. Catherine's PD stands. Your Honor, my client, Miss Cole, is prepared to plead guilty to attempted theft and unlawful entry. She deeply regrets it, has no prior criminal record, and has since settled her divorce from the property's owner, Mr. Cole. We request leniency based on her immediate cooperation and remorse. Catherine stands, voice trembling, reading a brief prepared statement. I acknowledge I committed a grave mistake. I was misguided by personal ambition and poor judgment. I sincerely apologize to Mr. Cole and to the court. I vow to never repeat such behavior. The judge peers at her over reading glasses. Understood, Ms. Cole. And the recommended sentencing from the DA is? The DA stands. We recommend up to 6 months in county jail or a structured probation and community service if Ms. Cole fully cooperates, plus restitution. Mr. Cole's representative indicated no strong push for incarceration if she pleads guilty. We can consider 200 hours community service, 2 years probation. Catherine exhales quietly. That's still harsh, but better than extended jail. She nods in acceptance. The judge clarifies. Do you accept these terms, Ms. Cole? She swallows. Yes, Your Honor. He nods. All right. I'll issue final sentencing shortly. Let's address Mr. Rivers now. The judge turns to Brent Rivers. His lawyer tries a different angle. Lawyer. My client believed Ms. Cole had rightful access. He merely accompanied her under false pretenses. He regrets any involvement. The DA retorts. Footage shows Mr. Rivers forcibly prying the lock, rummaging for code. We believe he's more culpable, with possible intent to resell stolen property. A short, heated debate ensues. Brent stands, proclaiming, "She told me it was their code. She wanted me to help retrieve it. I had no idea it was a setup." Catherine clenches fists. Liar. She can't speak out of turn. She watches the judge's face remain impassive. Finally, the judge sighs. "Mr. Rivers, given the evidence, your role appears central. If you want a plea deal, the DA suggests a more serious consequence than Ms. Cole faces, correct?" DA nods. "Yes, we believe 6-12 months jail or a higher restitution and community service. He has a pattern of dubious deals, plus gambling debt." Brent's face darkens. He hisses to his lawyer, who shrugs helplessly. They realize it's a losing battle. The judge proceeds. "All right, let's finalize. Catherine Cole, 200 hours community service, 2 years probation, restitution of any documented property damage, plus mandatory counseling. Brent Rivers, 4 months jail, 2 years probation post-release, restitution, and a fine. If he fails, further incarceration awaits." Judge bangs gavel. "Case closed." Catherine's knees nearly give out from relief. She glances at Brent. He glares, fury etched across his face. He storms out, muttering curses. The bailiffs direct him to processing for immediate custody. He can't walk free. She knows he blames her. He wanted me to share the blame, or worse. Too bad. When they exit the courtroom, Elise approaches Catherine briefly. Elise says, "Harrison asked me to confirm you accepted the plea. We'll note your restitution arrangement, then we're done." Catherine nods dully. "Tell him thank you for not pushing harder. And I'm sorry." Elise's expression remains politely neutral. "I'll pass the message. Good luck, Miss Cole." She strides away. Ivy embraces Catherine outside the courtroom doors. "You got off lighter than prison, right?" Catherine sniffles. "Yes, I did. But it's still so humiliating. Probation, community service, no real acting future. At least I'm not behind bars." She shudders, thinking of Brent's fate. Ivy rubs her back. "It's over. You can try to rebuild, piece by piece." Though Harrison didn't attend the hearing, he receives Elise's text summary. She got probation and service. Rivers got 4 months jail. Divorce stands. She extends her apologies. He sets down his phone in mild satisfaction. At least it's resolved. No more battles. He wonders if part of him wanted her to face harsher punishment. But perhaps closure is enough. He returns to coding, ignoring the hollow twinge. The final line of Elise's text. She extends her apologies lingers in his head, stirring faint echoes of memories. Then he closes the message, forging ahead with his day. Within a week, Catherine reports to a city-run community service program. They assign her to a rotating set of tasks: cleaning graffiti, picking up trash in parks, sorting donations at a food bank. She drags herself out each morning to do menial labor in a reflective vest alongside other offenders. Some are minor drug charges, petty theft convicts, etc. She feels the sting of how far she's fallen from her theater aspirations. She shuffles through damp grass, collecting litter. People pass, some ignoring her, some staring. She's grateful nobody recognizes her. She keeps her head down, tries to pass the hours. By day's end, her back aches, her pride battered, but she's fulfilling the terms of her plea, step by step. Another day, she helps organize canned goods, arranges boxes. An older volunteer, unaware of her background, chats kindly about doing good for the community. Catherine almost cries, feeling undeserving of praise. Still, she's forced into humility. She might not be proud of this, but it's better than a cell. Ivy notices Catherine's exhaustion each evening. She offers gentle support, hot meals, a listening ear. But the tension remains. How long can Catherine stay? She's not paying rent, still jobless beyond the cameo role that ended quickly. One night, Ivy suggests, maybe you could talk to your parents or relatives about staying with them, or find a cheap room to rent. Catherine nods tiredly. I know. I just dread telling them everything. But you're right. I can't impose forever. I'll figure something out soon. They exchange small smiles, both aware time is ticking. Out of nowhere, Catherine receives a call from a small experimental theater in Tacoma, an hour's drive away. The director, Manuel, says he heard she's talented but fell on hard times, and he's short on cast for a fringe production. If she's open, it pays a small stipend. She leaps at the chance. She travels to Tacoma, meets Manuel in a rundown warehouse converted into a black box theater. He's middle-aged, bohemian style, says he doesn't judge her legal fiasco if she's serious about performing. She's grateful, tears in her eyes, swearing to do her best. Rehearsals are unglamorous, pay is peanuts, but it's some forward step. She may have to commute or crash in Tacoma if the show runs late. She alerts her community service supervisor, hoping to juggle both. They tentatively approve her schedule. Maybe, just maybe, she can rebuild a semblance of a career. One late afternoon, after finishing community service, Catherine stops by a grocery store near Ivy's place. She's pushing a small cart, eyes puffy from fatigue. Then she spots a familiar silhouette at the produce section. Harrison. Her heart lurches. He's checking tomatoes or something, looking calm. She considers darting away, but something compels her to approach softly. She's not sure if it's closure or penance. She draws near. He turns, noticing her. His expression flickers. Surprise, then a guarded neutrality. She stammers, "Hey, Harrison." He nods politely. "Catherine, hi?" Silence. They stand among leafy greens and fruit, an odd setting for a conversation. She notices he looks good, less stressed. Maybe. She also feels painfully aware of her sweaty post-service clothes, her unkempt hair. She tries a small smile. I won't bother you. Just wanted to say thanks for not pushing me into jail. I appreciate that." He sets down a tomato. "I only asked for what was fair. You got your consequence. Let's leave it at that." She flushes. "Right. Of course. Sorry." An awkward pause. She wants to say more, apologize deeper, ask how he's doing, but his body language suggests he's not keen on a chat. He adds softly, "I hope you find a better path, but we're done. So take care." She nods, eyes stinging. "Take care, too." She backs away, letting him continue. The moment feels final, a quiet coda in a grocery aisle. She leaves quickly, tears threatening again. That same week, Harrison hosts a private investor showcase for Project Odyssey. Nolan helps set up a slick online demonstration. Several big tech reps attend virtually, impressed by the immersive environment Harrison crafts puzzle worlds that adapt to user input in real time. By the session's end, the feedback is glowing. A lead rep from a major VR conglomerate says, "We see huge potential. Let's schedule negotiations." Harrison is elated. This could ensure financial security beyond his wildest dreams. After the call, Nolan visits Harrison's place. They crack open beers, toasting. Nolan grins. "All that chaos with Catherine? And you came out on top, ex-wife out of your finances, your code untouched." Harrison nods. "Yeah, it's surreal. Still stings sometimes, but I guess victory is mine." They share a quiet moment of friendship in the living room, the VR equipment humming softly in the background. Harrison contemplates if he feels complete satisfaction. Perhaps he's a bit numb, but forging onward is the only course now. Brent begins his 4-month jail sentence in a county facility. It's not maximum security, but it's no picnic either. Wake at 5 a.m., drab cafeteria meals, limited yard time. He seethes internally, feeling wronged, though rationally he knows he's reaping what he sowed. He's teased by other inmates who discover he's that scammy agent. At night, staring at the ceiling bunk, Brent curses Catherine, curses Harrison, curses the entire fiasco. He tries to rationalize that once he's out, he might rebuild some contacts. But, realistically, who will trust him now? He occasionally checks with his lawyer about appealing or early release. The lawyer is non-committal. Good behavior might help, but it's a short sentence. Focus on not causing trouble. Seething, Brent vows, if he ever crosses paths with Catherine or Harrison again, he'll make them pay. But he's powerless here, locked away with time to stew. Back on the outside, Catherine begins her part in the Tacoma Fringe production. The black box space is cold and dusty. She changes into costumes in a makeshift dressing area behind a curtain. The cast is a motley crew of amateurs, some quite talented, others not. They treat her politely enough, though a few avoid her, presumably whispering about her legal drama. She plays a secondary supporting role, a ghostly figure, delivering cryptic monologues. It's weird, experimental material. But she pours her heart into it, perhaps desperate to reclaim any sliver of artistic fulfillment. Some nights, as she recites lines to near-empty seats, she wonders if this is all she can manage now. She still juggles community service hours some days, rehearsals others. She's perpetually exhausted, yet there's a small sense of purpose. She's at least acting, albeit in the fringes, literally and metaphorically. One late night after rehearsal, she stares at her reflection in the theater's grimy mirror, half-costumed. How did I get here? The memory of standing on stage with potential, dreaming of big breaks, feels like another lifetime. She tears up but steels herself. I messed up. This is my penance. Meanwhile, Harrison's negotiations with the VR conglomerate intensify. They send a formal licensing offer worth a substantial sum plus ongoing royalties. He consults Nolan, who's thrilled. Elise reviews the contract from a legal standpoint. Everything looks legitimate and potentially life-altering. At times, Harrison feels a pang of regret that he can't share this triumph with a spouse. But he reminds himself, Catherine was never truly supportive at the end anyway. This success belongs to him alone now. The conglomerate suggests he move to their main campus in California to lead an advanced VR team. Harrison contemplates it. A fresh start, away from the city haunted by betrayal. It's tempting, but he also cherishes Seattle in some ways his home. Memories with friends. He's torn. One evening, he confides in Nolan over takeout. Harrison sighs. They want me in California. I could run the entire Odyssey expansion from there. That's huge. But am I ready to uproot everything? Nolan shrugs. Might be good. A complete break from the old life. You owe Seattle nothing now, right? Harrison sips a soda. True. Let me think on it. I might keep the house here or rent it out. I just want to be sure it's not running away from ghosts. Nolan pats his shoulder. No shame in a fresh start. Harrison nods, mind whirling. At Ivy's apartment, friction slowly grows. The small space plus Catherine's bleak mood weighs on them. Some nights, they snap at each other over trivialities, dishes, laundry, or scheduling the shower. Ivy tries to stay patient, but she's not a saint. Catherine senses it, guilt piling. One evening, Ivy gently suggests, Cat, maybe it's time you found a room in Tacoma or somewhere. You're there often for rehearsals anyway. Catherine looks pained. I know, I can't afford much. But you're right. She checks online for cheap sublets. She's barely scrapes by with the cameo stipend, might manage a tiny room near the theater. The prospect unsettles her living alone, presumably in a run-down place. But she sees no alternative. She can't burden Ivy forever. One morning, while Catherine is at the community service staging area, she receives a text from an unknown number. "Elise told me you might handle restitution in installments. That's fine. Make sure you don't default. H." Her heart thumps. She recognizes it as Harrison's short, businesslike text. She types a trembling reply, "I will. Thank you." No further message arrives. She's left feeling a swirl of sorrow and gratitude that he's not demanding immediate, full payment. He's truly done with me, just ensuring I follow the legal plan. She can't blame him. Despite the chaotic state of her life, Catherine's fringe show in Tacoma manages to open for a small audience. The production is minimal. The house may be half full. She stands backstage, nerves tingling less from stage fright and more from the knowledge that her reputation might precede her. But the show goes on. Under dim lights, she delivers her ghostly monologues with raw emotion. Some lines almost mirror her regrets about betrayal, lost dreams. She invests a trembling vulnerability that stirs a mild applause from the modest crowd. It's hardly a standing ovation, but it's something. The director compliments her quietly. "You put real feeling into that. Good job." A few castmates also nod. It's a fleeting glow of accomplishment. Afterward, she changes back into street clothes, rides a bus to Ivy's place, feeling the emptiness of living with borrowed time, borrowed hope. Yet, it's a small victory she's on a stage again, however low on the ladder. Weeks pass. Brent endures jail, seething daily. Eventually, rumors surface that with good behavior he might be released a bit early, maybe 3 months served. In the final stretch, he daydreams of returning to normal life. Though normal is an odd concept now. He suspects his agent career is kaput, but maybe he can hustle some new scheme. Hate brewing. Each time he thinks of Harrison Cole, rage surfaces. "That bastard destroyed me," he mutters in his bunk. He also despises Catherine for not bailing him out, for letting him take the bigger fall. He contemplates tracking her down once free, though for what? To confront her? Possibly. But the future is murky. The VR conglomerate in California sends a formal relocation package. The deal is tempting. A generous salary, a top-tier lab to continue Odyssey expansions, plus stock options. Harrison weighs it. He consults Nolan, who encourages him to seize the opportunity. Elise says from a legal perspective he can keep the house, rent it out, or sell it. No big complication. Interior debate. Late at night, Harrison paces his living room, thinking about Seattle's memories. If he leaves, he truly starts fresh. Possibly the final break from Catherine's shadow, from the city's lingering ghost of betrayal. He sits at the kitchen table, flicks through images of the new campus modern architecture, advanced VR labs. "I can thrive there," he muses. The possibility of forging new friendships, maybe new romance in time, appeals. He texts Nolan, "I think I'll do it." Nolan replies with thumbs up and a "Congrats, buddy." Catherine's Tacoma show wraps after a short run. The pay is minimal. She's left with a sorrowful acceptance. The acting world might never fully embrace her again. She can keep scrabbling at the edges or find another path. She's 31, not ancient, but battered by scandal. One final night after they strike the set, she stands in the empty black box, letting tears fall. The director sees her, offers a half-sympathetic nod. She can't even articulate the swirl of regret. She just changes clothes, thanks them, and slips out to the bus station. Days later, Harrison finalizes the contract with the VR conglomerate. He sets a relocation date, about a month out. He enlists Nolan to help coordinate renting his house. The plan is to keep it as an investment property in case he ever returns to Seattle. He starts boxing up personal items, arranging property management. Each day the house grows barer. A mild pang arises. This was his home for years, shared with Catherine for better or worse. But he's resolute. Forward is the only direction. Nolan jokes, "You better invite me down to your swanky SoCal VR lab, man. I'll miss you." They share a bro hug. Harrison grins. "Absolutely. Come anytime." He wonders if he should message Catherine about his move, then decides it's unnecessary. They're divorced, nothing more to say. Meanwhile, Catherine scours Tacoma listings, hoping to relocate closer to potential acting gigs, or at least away from Ivy's place. She stumbles on a cheap sublet in a rundown building near the bus route. She visits, finds it depressing. A cramped single room, peeling paint, shared bathroom. The landlord is indifferent. Yet the rent is within her meager budget. She sighs, deciding it's better than freeloading off Ivy. She signs a short-term lease, moves her sparse belongings from Ivy's. The day she leaves, Ivy gives her a tearful hug. "I hope things get better for you, Kat." Catherine sniffles. "You've done so much for me. Thank you forever." She departs, feeling a mix of guilt and gratitude, now truly on her own. Brent serves around 3 months, then obtains early release for good behavior. One rainy afternoon, he steps out the facility gates, free but directionless. No fanfare, no friends picking him up. He hitches a bus ride to the city with the last of his funds. Immediate goals. He contemplates contacting old acquaintances most have ghosted him. He wonders if Catherine might give him a sofa to crash on, then scoffs at the idea. She's probably despises me. And her place? She's likely broke too. He ends up at a cheap motel again, counting pennies. The notion of confronting Harrison crosses his mind, but that man is wealthier. Protected. Brent might just get arrested for harassment if he tries. He simmers in frustration. This city is poison now. Maybe I should skip town. Per her probation terms, Catherine must check in monthly with an officer, prove she's working or seeking jobs, continuing community service hours. She trudges to the probation office, answers routine questions. Still living in Tacoma? Yes. Working? Not steadily. Some cameo roles, a side hustle washing dishes at a diner. She's scraping by. Any contact with Mr. Cole? She glances up, shakes her head. No, we're done. The officer merely nods, stamping her file, reminding her, no slip-ups, keep meeting the service hours. She leaves, shoulders slumped. This is her life now. Word floats around that Harrison Cole is leaving Seattle for a big VR job in California. Ivy hears it from Nolan in passing. She relays it to Catherine via text. Just FYI, heard Harrison's moving soon. Catherine reads it, heart clenching. Another finality. He's leaving the city altogether, no chance of random encounters, no ephemeral possibility of closure. She types a reply. Thanks for letting me know. Then stares at the screen, tears pricking. She wonders if he's truly wiping the slate. Despite her guilt, Catherine wrestles with the impulse to see Harrison once more before he leaves. She's not sure if it's closure or masochism. Finally, she steels herself and heads to his house, the place that used to be hers as well, hoping to catch him maybe packing up. She arrives late afternoon, sees a moving truck in the driveway, half-filled boxes. Her pulse quickens. This is real. The front door is open. She steps onto the porch, each footstep a memory. She peers inside. The living room is mostly empty, just boxes labeled VR gear or kitchen. A voice behind her. Catherine! She spins, finding Harrison at the threshold wearing casual jeans and a t-shirt, dusty from packing. He sets down a small box, expression guarded but not outright hostile. She stammers. I'm sorry for dropping by. I heard you were moving. I just wanted to say goodbye, I guess. He exhales quietly. Well, yeah, I'm leaving in a couple days. You have your goodbye now. They stand in an awkward hush. The house's echo underscores the emptiness of everything. She notices how calm he appears. No rage. She offers a shaky half-smile. I won't take your time. Just want you to know I truly wish you well, and I appreciate you not sending me to prison. I hope someday you can forgive me. His jaw tenses. I appreciate the apology. I'm moving on. That's all I can say. She nods, tears forming. I'm so sorry for everything. I cost you so much heartbreak. He shrugs. You cost yourself heartbreak too. We're both paying. But I'm done. I can't cling to anger. She's surprised at his measured tone. So you're not angry anymore? He lifts a box. Anger's pointless now. I won. I got my VR deal. I kept my assets. You got your punishment. It's over. There's no reason to keep stewing. A tear slips down her cheek. She manages. That's good. I'm glad you're free. He sets the box into the truck, turns back. Look, if you're serious about changing your life, great. I won't stand in your way. But don't expect me to cheer you on. We're just strangers now. That word, strangers, hits like a punch. She nods slowly. I understand. They stand a moment as if the entire 4 years collapses into silence. Finally, he extends a hand in a polite handshake, a gesture of final civility. She wipes her tears, grips his hand lightly, then releases. He says quietly, Take care, Catherine. I hope you find peace. She chokes a response. You too, Harrison. Good luck in California. She turns, walks away, not looking back, tears clouding her vision. He watches her go, feeling a pang of nostalgia, but mostly relief that the final tie is severed. 2 days later, Harrison finishes loading the last of his possessions, locks the house, hands the keys to the property manager. Nolan stands by to wave him off. The moving truck rumbles away. Harrison climbs into his car, a mix of excitement and a faint ache. He glances at the empty porch one last time, remembering the first day he and Catherine stepped here as newlyweds, brimming with hopes. Life changes, he thinks. Then he starts the engine, pulling onto the street, heading south. A new chapter awaits. Several weeks pass. Catherine remains in Tacoma, paying rent on her tiny sublet, continuing community service, sporadic cameo roles. She scrounges up a dishwashing job at a local cafe. It's humble, but at least it's a paycheck. She starts saving small amounts, determined not to default on restitution. Each day feels less like self-flagellation, more like a quiet acceptance of her new reality. She avoids self-pity, focusing on basics. Do the job, stay out of trouble, rebuild a semblance of dignity. She tries small auditions, some rejections, some minor acceptances. She keeps forging on. She might never be a star, but at least she can reclaim some shred of artistry. Late one night, in her cramped sublet, she stares at old photos her wedding day, her wide grin next to Harrison. She sets them aside, tears them up carefully, then tosses them. She mutters, We're strangers now. Let him live his life. A bittersweet resolution, but a resolution nonetheless. Released from jail, Brent scrounges for lodging in a dingy motel. He tries hitting up people for investments, claiming he has new film agent leads. Most slam the door. He contemplates leaving Seattle for L.A., hoping to con new victims, but his criminal record might follow him. One day, he drunkenly texts Catherine, We should talk. We both got screwed by Cole. She reads it, feels a wave of revulsion, deletes it instantly. She wants nothing to do with him. Realizing he's out of options, Brent likely packs up and vanishes, drifting to another city. Another hustle. In the story's context, he's no longer relevant. Just a cautionary figure spiraling further from redemption. He thrives in the new VR lab, building an advanced sequel to Odyssey. Corporate colleagues admire his brilliance. He occasionally feels pangs of loneliness, no real close friends yet, no romance. but he's content forging a fresh path. The coastal sunshine, the hum of possibility, suit him. Some nights he wonders if he might date again, in time, perhaps. She remains in Tacoma, finishing her community service, abiding by probation terms. She's not happy or triumphant, but slowly forging a meager living, auditioning for small plays, saving every penny. She's begun therapy as required by the court, learning to face her destructive patterns, to find self-worth outside stardom illusions. A quiet evening. Catherine stands outside a small theater in Tacoma, the marquee displaying an obscure experimental show. She's a minor cast member. People trickle out after the performance. She overhears a random stranger praising her haunting stage presence. She thanks them, faintly smiling. Inside, she changes clothes, stepping into the crisp night air. A fresh sense of humility and a fragile hope swirl within her. She's no longer the woman who conspired to cheat and steal. She might never be a star, but she's determined to rebuild. Step by step, Harrison, thousands of miles away, wraps up a long day in the VR lab. He gazes out the window at the California skyline. He thinks of the final handshake with Catherine, the echo of her apology. He doesn't regret moving. He breathes in, feeling the future wide open. He flicks off the lab lights, stepping into the warm West Coast night, heading to a new apartment. The sting of betrayal lingers only as a faint memory, overshadowed by a sense of new beginnings. Thus ends their intertwined story, a testament to how betrayal and revenge can scorch lives. Yet life marches on, forcing each to either crumble or adapt. Harrison has soared to success with dignity intact. Catherine trudges forward in the shadows, paying her debt, chasing flickers of redemption. Brent fades into irrelevance, swallowed by his own bitterness. No neat fairy tale ending, but each soul navigates the path they carved. And so, the slow burn drama concludes. Hey listeners of Temptress Cheating Tales!